one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa. Boss forever like they decided to throw me under slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price.
Well, Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last.
Welcome back. Jesus Christ, I couldn't even start the show right. Listen, welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. I am your host, Saint. I gotta be honest with you. I'm in a completely different setup. It could be an echo. Depending on how this show sound, I don't know if it's gonna go up yet or not. But I'm not in my space right now, and I won't be back in my space for probably about a week and a half. So I didn't want to wait a week and a half to upload another episode. Because I've been out of my space for like a week already. And so I was contemplating if I wanted to upload an episode because I had to go into this different area of somebody's house. That's basically like a box with a window. So it could sound very different than what the normal episodes sound like. I hope it's not an echo, but it could be. But how is everybody doing out there? We got so much to talk about. I appreciate you for joining me because you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to stop by here, and I do appreciate you for that. We got a lot to talk about. A lot has happened in the sports world the last time we left off, like an episodic episode or TV show. Because I basically said the same. Nonetheless, the last time we left off, we were talking about Olympics. Very patriotic Saint. But the Olympics have come, the Olympics have gone. I'm pretty sure we'll revisit the Olympics at some point in time during the NBA season. But now we are back. We are back to doing what this channel was built on. Football. Now, I done said many of times that, my goal in the future, my hope and dream is that this channel blow up and that we cover far more than just football. Excuse me. And it's more people covering things on the channel than just me. But for right now, you stuck with me. And I appreciate you. We going hard this NFL season. I'm talking about more shows, meaning more videos, different topics, shorter videos with shorter topics, longer shows with a ton of topics. Obviously, we always going to have our Sunday night show where it usually goes up on Monday, but a lot of times it did go up on Sunday during the back end of the football season. Like, I was killing it during the playoffs. I'm not going to lie to you. The boy was on it in playoff football. I told myself before the playoffs started, I said, Saint, it's go time. We got to get it going, brother. And so I'm proud of myself for that football content, but we got to go even harder this year. All right. So let me tell you what you can expect in the next upcoming days, weeks. You can expect a long video talking about every single division prediction. We're not going to do like last year where we did one video per show, one show for each division. We're going to knock all them bitches out in one video. So you can expect that coming up. You can expect some of my award predictions in a show coming up. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year. We talk about some of these rookies. You can expect a top 10 quarterback ranking coming up in a show. It's a lot we got coming up. And before you know it, we'll be covering the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs opening night game. So with that, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. And I want to start off by talk about something that's not really a sport that we usually cover on the channel. Because you see, the rap game is indeed a sport, in my opinion. It's very competitive. And one thing that I do not think that I addressed, and if I did, I can't remember addressing it, but the Drake v. Kendrick beef. A very interesting beef, to say the least. It started because Kendrick's a hater. And I guess I gotta respect the fact that Kendrick just straight up said, bro, I just hate you because I hate you. I respect that. Cause it be like that sometimes. It do be like that sometimes. Like, I just don't like you. Now, I'm not a hater. I might joke about hating shit sometimes, but the level of hater that Kendrick is on, I don't think I could ever experience it. Because even if I see motherfuckers getting ahead of me and I don't think they nowhere as good as me, I just have programmed myself to run my own race. And when you run your own race, it just don't leave a lot of room to be hating on other motherfuckers. So I don't think that I would ever go the Kendrick route, but respect to Kendrick for going that route. Now, the beef was interesting. Not Like Us is I like Not Like Us. It do get overplayed like shit, but I do like Not Like Us. They not like it. That Jonathan Majors video is hilarious. But here's my opinion on the beef. I think Kendrick ended up ultimately winning, but I also don't think that I don't think Drake ever really had a chance of winning, because I feel like Kendrick brought out all of Drake's biggest haters. And it didn't matter what Kendrick said, he was always going to win this beef, especially in the eyes of Twitter. Now, my problem with this beef is all the motherfuckers who spend all day tweeting about Drake, calling Drake all type of names. Every time Drake posts something, they like, oh, he's so insecure, yada, yada, yada. Like, yo, y'all do not get paid to hate on this man. Kendrick got paid to hate on this man. Y'all paid him to be a professional hater. Y'all don't get paid to hate on Drake. I don't understand how a grown ass man can wake up and one of the first things he do, I don't even give a damn if it's one of the first things you do, and I don't give a damn if it's the last thing you do before you lay your head on the bed at night, on your pillow at night. The fact that at some point in time in your day, you decide to hop on Twitter and respond to something that a Drake picture by saying, this man is so insecure, look at the pictures he put. Like, bruh, go get some pussy. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Some of y'all dudes just blow my mind. Pause. It's astounding to me how childish, how stupid, how, bro, some of the things that y'all care about make no sense to me. And maybe it's me. I get that. Maybe it's me. I'm not even an old head. I'm only 30. I just turned 30. But I don't get it. I don't understand the shit that be infatuating y'all minds and y'all head spaces. Why the fuck do y'all care about this Drake Kendrick shit outside of the music? Like, yo, I'm seeing people dead ass who spend all day on Twitter calling Drake a pedophile and things that they can't prove. But that's what consumes their day. Y'all don't get paid for this shit. Why? For some likes and some engagement on Twitter? I just feel like y'all should never have to wonder for too long why broke people stay broke. This is why. The infatuation with drama and hating on motherfuckers and the infatuation of being a free hater, an unpaid hater is crazy. Crazy work, I tell you. I don't understand it. I wish things would stay to the music. I wish broke people didn't have so much free fucking time on their hands. I really do. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Drake keep battling dudes who willing to take it places that he ain't willing to take it. Or that he can't take it. Like Kendrick, he battled Kendrick and Kendrick was willing to take it places, whether it be true or not true, to some of the shit he said in those tracks. Drake, I don't know if Drake was willing to take it that far. Plus, why do Drake even, that's the biggest thing I don't understand why people don't understand. Yo, Kendrick is big for this moment. And I'm not telling you that Kendrick's not a star. Kendrick's a star. Kendrick ain't Drake. At the end of the day, Kendrick might have won this beef. You want to know what happened at the end? They went back to being themselves. And Drake is still Drake. I know people don't like to hear that. But Drake is still... And this is the thing that I don't understand. Some of you hate on dudes and don't even listen to a good portion of their catalog. So, this is going to sound crazy. But I'm a hip-hop head, so I could really care less. I do not like Kendrick more than I like Drake. I think Kendrick won this battle, but I don't like Kendrick more than Drake for the simple reason Kendrick to me is a lot like Nas, where they got these tracks that are just magical tracks. But a lot of their tracks is tough listens at times. And Nas far more than Kendrick. That's why I really don't like making that comparison, but that's the closest thing that I can think of. Like, to me, I don't think Kendrick or Drake is on the level of a J. Cole, but I understand people who feel it as though they are. To me, you're really not going to like what I'm finna say next, but some of Drake's hardest, like, this is the thing. A lot of people don't understand Drake's a businessman. He's not a businessman. He's a businessman. All right. The GOAT said that. But listen, I understood a long time ago, Drake don't make songs just for hood niggas. Drake makes songs for the bitches. As soon as you accept that, then you'll understand what Drake is. Now, when Drake decide to start rapping, Drake can do that. 5 a.m. in Toronto. Stay scheming. Matter of fact, any of his AM PMs, the 4 p.m. in Calabasas, 9 a.m. in Dallas. Like, yo, to say Drake can't rap is silly. Drake can rap. Like, let's stop it. Just because you haven't listened to a huge catalog of Drake or haven't sat down and listened to some of his best hits or some of his best rap tracks, that's on you. But I'm also not going to fault Drake because he makes pop songs. He understands how this money thing works. The bigger your fan base, the more diverse your fan base, the more money you make, the more albums you sell, the more records, the more streams. That's just how this thing goes. And that's not going to change after this beef. So that's what's confusing me about the people who still on Drake nuts. Because once you realize Drake is a money machine at this point, you move on. You say it was a good beef, but we're past it now. Same thing happened when he lost to Pusha T. Pusha was willing to take it places that Drake wasn't willing to take it. You want to know who was still the bigger artist after the beef was over? Drake. And Drake lost the beef. So, don't kill yourselves thinking too hard about this thing. All right. But it's time to talk sports, and let me tell you something. Whew. I'm about to make a name for myself here today. You just make sure you tell everybody what happened here today. We got to react to the top 10. The top 100 NFL players. Now, unfortunately, me being as the unprepared host that I am, I did not write down the top 100 players because the list does not matter as much as the conversation we are about to have. Listen, Tyreek Hill finished number 1 on the players' top 100 list. Now, I do understand that the players vote for this, and I also understand that they vote for it like midway through the season. I get all of that. My thing is, as a matter of fact, before I even get to the Tyreek Hill thing, as a matter of fact, no, I can hop into that right now. I would never put a receiver number 1. Now, if you watch the show, if you don't watch the show, if this is the first time watching me, I'm a big Tyreek Hill guy. I don't know if it's a receiver on this channel that I done talked about more in such a high glowing fashion than Tyreek Hill. Like, I love Tyreek Hill. I just think that the talent, Tyreek Hill, to be as talented as he is and to do the things that he can do with the frame that he has been given is unreal. It makes no sense to me. So, you know what? Outside of maybe Julio Jones might actually be the most. I still think I talk about Tyreek Hill more, but Julio and T.O. are to me the best receivers I've ever seen play the game. But as much as I love Tyreek Hill, as much as I value the receiver position, as much as I think, and I'm not even mad at people for saying that, I'm not mad at the players for thinking he the best receiver in the league, because I tend to believe he the best receiver in the league also. However, I can't put a receiver number 1. And I understand sometimes people say you got to judge it off of what's happening right now, but it's just hard to do that. I think people have to understand that at the end of the day, when you ranking players and you're judging players, you're just always going to lean back to what they've done in the past. At least that's what they do every time they try to judge Lamar Jackson. So, hell, I'm going to do it too. So my whole thing is, even if I'm not worried about what's happened in the past, it's just very hard for me to put a receiver over a quarterback. Because of the position of a quarterback and how important the quarterback position is. To be completely honest with you, I don't know if I would put a receiver over the top lineman in football. Offensive lineman. Like, to me, if you gave me an option, would I want Tyreek Hill over, let's say, the center for the Ravens, Tyler Linderbaum? I'm probably going to take Tyler Linderbaum. Because I know he don't got the flash, and he ain't going to put up the stats that Tyreek Hill put up. But I know the value and the importance of having a center that protect the middle and protects your quarterback and is your quarterback's best friend, basically. If you told me to pick between Tyreek Hill or Myles Garrett, I'm probably going to take a Myles Garrett because I also understand having that dude who can go after the quarterback. You gave me the option of Tyreek Hill or TJ Watt. I'm probably taking TJ Watt. And it's no disrespect to Tyreek Hill. It's just, for me, I'm judging it based off of the importance of position, in my opinion. And as much as I love the receiving position, as much as important as I feel as though the receiving position is, it's just other positions that I feel is more important, specifically the quarterback position. And that's where the problem comes in. See, I've been seeing a lot of people get mad about Lamar Jackson being number 2 over Pat Mahomes, who I believe was number 4 or 5. Now, I also have a problem with Pat Mahomes being ranked at that where he was ranked at, but it ain't because Lamar Jackson was at number 2. This is my problem with sports media. The lack of critical thinking. The need to just want to have clickbait and all this type of nonsense. If you ranked players in the NFL, Lamar Jackson would still finish second. You want to know who is not where they're supposed to be? Mahomes. Because Mahomes should be number 1. Lamar would still be number 2. So the fact that people have made that a Lamar Jackson thing, it just continues to show the disdain people have for Lamar Jackson. And you can see a talking head on every sports show who got a problem with Lamar Jackson, whether it be Mark Schlereth, whether it be Emmanuel Acho, whether it be Nick Wright, whether it be whoever you want to say, whatever, what's the dude on First Take? You could say Shannon Sharp, you could say Stephen A. Smith, you could say Mad Dog Russo, whoever you want to say, Ryan Clark, all of them. For all the dudes who are hypercritical of Lamar Jackson, but not as hypercritical of other players, excluding Shannon Sharp, because he do tend to hold most players to the same standard for the most part. But for all of those talking heads who consistently, just talk, that's my problem with them. Because like I said, the problem is not where Lamar Jackson is ranked. Because if you rank the players, if you are smart, Lamar Jackson would still be number 2. So why in God's name would it be a problem that he is number 2 right now? Like I said, the problem is not him at number 2. It's Pat Mahomes at number 4 or 5, wherever the fuck he was at. Because even if you rank the list properly, Lamar would still be number 2. So that should never have even been a question. That should never even have been a topic. Because, once again, for the dumbasses in the back, if you rearrange the list properly and you put Pat Mahomes at number 1, Lamar Jackson would still be number 2 on most lists. Tyreek Hill should not be number 1. I don't know if Tyreek Hill would be in my top 5 because I wouldn't have a receiver in my top 5. If I had to rank, and to me, it's very ignorant to say, well, it can't just be a quarterback list. Motherfucker, if quarterbacks is the best players in the league, then them motherfuckers is, I was finna say something. Them motherfuckers is gonna be the tops on the top dudes on the list. Now, let me say my list. Stop interrupting me. Number 1, Patty McGoat Holmes. Huge margin. Number 2, Action Jackson, Lamar Jackson. Number 3, Josh Allen. I don't care if you think, it's a quarterback list. Those are the 3 best players in the NFL. They move the needle for their team more than any other players in the NFL. That's just a fact, in my opinion. You see how funny that was? You see how, what's that called? That's called my English literature heads, help me out. What is that called? I can't remember what it's called at the moment. Fuck. The word is right there at the tip of my head and I can't get it out, man. But I'm not going to think about it for too long. But I'm still thinking about it. Either way, number 3 would be Josh Allen. Number 4 for me would be TJ Watt. Y'all don't understand, man. We play against this motherfucker 2 times a year, and it feel like we play against the motherfucker 4 times a year. And I believe that every single time we play him, he make an impact play. Every fucking time. I don't remember the last defensive player not named Aaron Donald that was this clutch. Like, TJ Watt's unbelievable. TJ Watt is unbelievable. And to be better than JJ Watt was crazy to put on him coming into the league. Damn it. I understand injuries robbed JJ, but man, this motherfucker TJ. I love TJ Watt. I think TJ Watt, if I'm ranking players, he is the first non-quarterback that would be on my list. He would be number 4. Number 5, you're going to hate me, but I don't know who I'm putting over Roquan Smith at number 5. And it's not because he a Raven. To me, Roquan Smith, if you take away TJ Watt, maybe Myles Garrett you could say next. But I'm thinking about the most impactful defensive players. Roquan Smith changed an already good defense to an elite defense. Roquan Smith is different. That would be the 5th best player in the NFL to me right now. And I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Because I'm not putting a cornerback over Roquan Smith. It's not a cornerback that I put over him. Respect the sauce. I don't think that my boy down there in San Fran is better than him. Fred Warner. I don't think Fred Warner is better than Roquan Smith. I'm trying to think of other players. TJ Watt's importance is why he is over Roquan. I'm trying to think. I wouldn't. To me, the only other player who I could possibly put over Roquan is the dude who I got at number 6, and that's T.J. Watt. I mean, not T.J. Watt. That's Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is my 6th best player in the league, and you know I'm not mad if you say, well, you gotta switch him over Roquan. I wouldn't be mad at you, but at the moment, I have Roquan at number 5 and Myles at number 6. But to me, those are the 5, 6 best players in the NFL. After Roquan and Myles, I possibly start getting to like receivers. But even then, I'm not sure if I immediately... I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I love Tyreek, I don't see a Julio, bro. Julio is the receiver that would be on this list already. Prime Julio would be on this list. I don't see Julio. As great as these receivers are, Prime Julio was different. I watched Julio with my own 2 fucking eyes. Julio was different. Julio was different. Julio was different. Okay? I'm trying to think who I would have. I might as well round out the top 10, right? So at 6, I have Myles Garrett. Who would I have number 7? I would have to sit down and actually make out a list to fill out the list because I don't want to leave off offensive linemen that I feel like are super important. It wouldn't be a shit ton, but I do think it's like 2 offensive linemen that I would take over Tyreek. Or put over Tyreek. I don't even know. Yeah, Tyreek would probably be my first receiver off the board. It would be between him, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. Am I forgetting a receiver who I feel like is that boy? As Chad Ochocinco would say. I feel like I am. And A.J. Brown. That's who I was forgetting. A.J. Brown, that boy too. That boy. A.J. Brown is very Julio-like. I'm not going to lie. A.J. Brown, he reminds me a lot of Julio. He's still not quite Julio, but he reminds me a lot of Julio Jones. I'm happy that he ended up getting to Philadelphia. Philadelphia just traded for Josh Dobson or Jahan Dotson, the receiver from Washington. That's a great trade for the Eagles. The Eagles got firepower, boy. The Eagles have firepower. It's going to be a very interesting division because I think the Eagles are the better all-around team than the Cowboys. But what I saw from the Eagles defense last year, good golly, Miss Molly. Boy, they made a name for themselves on that D. That was crazy. That I will never get that image out of my head of how bad, horrific that tackling was in that playoff game. My goodness. That was, bro, you can't tackle that bad on Madden. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Now, we got more things to talk about. I did need to get through that top 100 thing with the issues with that list, at least my issues with the list. The issues that other people have with Lamar Jackson, to me, like I said, they make no sense in my opinion because Lamar Jackson is the 2nd best player in the NFL. Once again, his ranking is not the problem. It's the dude that's in front of him and Pat Mahomes being so far behind him. Now, I do, actually, before I move off of this topic, I do understand when people say, well, you know, at the time he was playing like this and that. But that's where I say, yeah, but I never lost faith in him. So it's just hard for me. When you don't watch the shit that Pat Mahomes do, it's just impossible for me to put somebody else over him right now, especially when Aaron Donald done retired from the league. I'm very interested to see what my Rams do. Because if you follow the channel, if you don't follow the channel, if you follow the channel, you already know I fuck with the Rams is like my NFC team. But if you don't follow the channel, I am a Ravens fan. I'm a Ravens guy through and through. But I absolutely love the Rams. I cannot explain it to you. I love Aaron Donald, and I was a fan of Aaron Donald from the moment he was in the league. However, I don't think I would have been a fan of the Rams if they did not move to LA, because I'm already a Laker fan. I've been a Laker fan my whole life, and I'm a Sparks fan, so it's just easy for me to root for the teams that's in LA. When the Rams moved to LA and they got that whole makeover and they got that beautiful field and a great young head coach who was an offensive innovator, and then they had Todd Gurley, that team had so much positive energy. I'm so happy they capped it off with a Super Bowl. They had my boy Eric Weddle. Like, to me, that's what you want they did everything right as a franchise that was relocating. They did not just relocate and just start rebuild. They relocated and immediately bought full into winning. They did not. They went out and got Matthew Stafford. Mind you, they got to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. They realized we can only get so far with Jared Goff. Went out and got Matthew Stafford. Their whole thing was hunting aggressively for a Super Bowl. So I love the Rams for that. And it's somehow because I watch Aaron Donald so much throughout his career, I just naturally started loving the Rams, and I was like, well, shit, they in the NFC, so I can freely root for them without it going against the Ravens. So I was like, fuck it, this is my NFC team. However, without Aaron Donald on the squad, my allegiance now might be shifting, and that's fair because, like I said, I can just have a random NFC team. After being a fan of the Rams for so long, I can feel my allegiance switching over to the Green Bay Packers. Because I told you, man, I'm all on Jordan Love. Pause. I'm on the Jordan Love bandwagon. I was on it already. I don't really know if you could call it a bandwagon because I was rocking with Jordan Love before it was cool. I told you at the beginning of last year, I don't know what it is. But after some of the things I done seen, going back and watching his tape, I was like, I just feel like he actually might go crazy. And I love Matt LaFleur as a head coach. I just don't think he get enough credit. Matt LaFleur is a phenomenal head coach. Now, I'm very interested to see what the New York Jets get done this season, because you see the New York Jets are in a bit of a pickle. A bit of a situation. They traded for Hassan Reddick, a stud pass rusher. But they didn't pay him. And so now he's holding out. He requested a trade. They said, we're not trading you, buddy. It's not going to happen. We didn't trade all that shit just to get rid of you. Not going to happen. That's crazy work. But I think it's crazy work that you traded for a dude who was already holding out on the previous team he was on because he wanted a new contract, just so you could trade him and not pay him the contract that he was holding out for to begin with. You can't make this shit up. Only in New York. And if that's not enough, you also hoping Aaron Rodgers, at what, he's 40 years old now? You're still relying very heavily on Aaron Rodgers. I like getting Tyrod Taylor as your backup, but Tyrod done shown you on a multitude of occasions he has a ceiling. He is only taking you so far. I don't care how much talent you got on the team. You're praying that you're banking on Aaron Rodgers having not just a bounce back season because he was hurt last year, but his last year in Green Bay wasn't that great either. So not only do you need him to have a bounce back season from the Green Bay season, but you also want him to return and have a bounce back season from being healthy. From being hurt last year. So you want him to stay healthy and try to recreate the Aaron Rodgers from 3 or 4 years ago at this point. And that's a lot to ask for a guy that's Aaron Rodgers' age. For one, he's going to get hit. It might not be the first game. Might not be the second game, but he damn sure is going to get hit at some point in time this season. I probably put money on it being the first game, and the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, and so on. Because that's how football works. So the biggest test is, can he make it through the season healthy? That's the first one. And it's crazy that you ask these questions for Aaron Rodgers, but this ain't Aaron Rodgers that won 4 Super Bowls no more. This is a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming off of a bad last season in Green Bay and injury being out all of last year. So I'm very intrigued to see how Aaron Rodgers and the Jets play this year. To me, that's one of the most interesting watches this season. And we will be following the Jets very closely this season. I can promise you that. Last year we followed the Jaguars. No, it wasn't the Jaguars. We followed the Jags closely the year before that. Who did we follow last year? We follow different teams every year real closely that we normally wouldn't follow. None of the AFC North teams. If you comment what team it was, just know it cannot be an NFC North team, because obviously we cover the NFC North a lot because that's the division the Ravens play in. So naturally, I watch the Steelers, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals a lot. So those don't count. And I talk about them a lot because they play in our division. So those ain't the 14. Though you can't name one of those 3 teams. Obviously, you can't name the Ravens. But it was another. Oh, you know what? It might have been the Packers. I think it actually was the Packers. It might have been the Packers last year that we followed closely. And it was another team, too. It was the Packers and it was somebody else that we followed closely. I don't think it was the Texans, but it could have been the Texans. But I don't think it was the Texans. I think it just was the Packers. I'm trying to think. It might have been the Eagles. No, the Eagles was the year before. We followed the Eagles real close that year before. Yeah, I think it was just the Packers because the year before it was the Eagles. Then it was the Packers. So who we following this year? The Packers and the Eagles, we obviously going to follow. We're going to keep following both of those teams. But we got to follow another team this year. The Jags was in the AFC the year before also. It was another team in the AFC that we followed last year. I think it wasn't the Broncos. We got the Colts. We got it was the Chargers, wasn't it? No, it wasn't the Chargers. I covered so many fucking teams in the AFC, man. Fuck it. I'm not even finna think too hard about it. But this year, I already know who we following. We will be following the Texans close because I'm very interested to see how the Texans with all that offensive firepower looks. We're going to be following the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams and not because I'm very interested to see how the Chicago Bears look this season, which will be easy because I already watch all of the Packers games. So this year, the two teams that we be following very close. Now, Chicago really don't seem fair because I've been covering that's the team. We've been watching Chicago very closely over the last 2 years because, listen, you can call me a Justin Fields hater. I could care less. I'm watching the film, I'm watching the games, and just telling you what I see. It's a quarterback who, to me, still play like a college quarterback. And he isn't going in to year 6 now? Or year 4 or 5? Yeah, it's like year 5 or 4. Justin Fields has started for 3 years of his career, and I do not see a single improvement, to be completely honest with you, even through the preseason snaps he done took. So we followed the Bears very closely, and if you still think people just hating on Justin Fields, I just don't think you know football. I mean, because when you watch a dude he is lacking in so many areas that you would just want a quarterback to be decent in. Matter of fact, man, fuck the areas that you need to be. It's areas that you just expect quarterbacks to be, good in. Justin Fields ain't even good at those. So to me, now some people might say, well, Saint, you give us some details. Just don't say stuff. My pleasure. Most quarterbacks, you expect to have some semblance of pocket presence, especially going into year 4. I'm not telling you that you got to be the greatest pocket passer of all time. I'm not even talking about passing at this point. I'm just talking about being able to understand how to work from the pocket. That's basic shit. Daniel Jones can't do it. Zach Wilson can't do it. Justin Fields can't do it. Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl. Been to 2 of them bitches. And even Russell Wilson, as bad as I think his pocket awareness is and pocket presence is, he is good enough to where he was able to win a Super Bowl with it. Now, when you look at how many sacks that Russell, because a part of being bad in the pocket of just having bad pocket, you take more sacks than the normal quarterback. Now, you look at how often Russell Wilson was sacked. Now, go watch Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. And look how even worse they are when it comes to pocket awareness, pocket presence, understanding where to roll, where your exits are in the pocket, understanding when to step up, when to escape. Justin Fields, just because he run good, don't make him a good. It's times where he run out of the pocket and there's no pressure whatsoever in the pocket. None. Being able to throw with anticipation. I understand that is a tough skill to develop, but it's one that most great quarterbacks, even the good quarterbacks, can do at times. Justin Fields can't. Justin Fields literally need his receivers to be wide the fuck open, or he usually don't throw the ball. Now, another thing that you would want a quarterback to, be good at is just basic game management. Understanding how to get dudes in and out of the huddle, understanding where dudes need to be lined up at, understanding who the blitzing linebackers are, understanding how what guys are supposed to be open on what play. Just basic, quarterback shit. Name one of those things that I just said that Justin Fields is good at. Not great, just good at. Okay. Now, back to the throwing part of the game. Does Justin Fields throw with anticipation at a high level, or even just a decent level? Does Justin Fields throw guys open? Does Justin Fields make tight window throws? Is Justin Fields a guy who you think can go win a game with his arm? Is Justin Fields a guy who you think can win a quarter, 2 quarters with his arm? Or do you believe that Justin Fields is more of a gimmicky quarterback in the sense of he can run very good, but when they shut that down and he has to throw, it's over for him? Now, you could be saying, well, Saint, you just saying that. Well, go look at his 4th quarter stats. Now, Saint don't like stats. Saint don't really use them because stats work for both sides. And Saint understands that. However, go look at his stats in the 4th quarter. You really don't need to look at his stats. You could just go replay those games and use the eye test. Justin Fields is terrible in the 4th quarter. Now, I'm starting to realize the reason people think that I'm hating on Justin Fields, or the reason people believe that this is hatred towards Justin Fields, is because we don't do enough of using Daniel Jones at the same time. Okay, see, people go at Daniel Jones, but we do it at different times. You know what I think need to start happening? I think we need to start talking about both of these motherfuckers at the same time, because they basically the same player. All 3 of them, as a matter of fact. Wilson, Jones, Fields. Same quarterbacks, in my opinion. The crazy part is, I don't know who the best thrower out of all of them. I don't think none of them good enough to be in the NFL as a quarterback. I don't think any of them throw with good anticipation. I don't think any of them are great at throwing guys open. I don't think any of them can read defenses, even at a decent level. I think they are terrible at reading defenses. If you can disguise anything against these dudes, you probably gonna be able to get them to throw it into the defensive guy's hands. I don't think any of them read defenses good. I don't think any of them are great leaders to a team. Now you say, Saint, how can you tell that? That's a crazy question when you say Pat Mahomes a good leader, CJ Stroud a good leader, Aaron Rodgers, all these different dudes that we call good leaders, excluding Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why I said Aaron Rodgers. We call Tom Brady a good leader. You can see what a great leader is. Can you see these dudes as great leaders? So it's so many different things that's lacking with all 3 of them. I feel like if I start saying Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson with Justin Fields, and this is why I never understand when people be like, when I talk about race, it's usually because race need to be brought up in the conversation. I don't just bring race up willy-nilly. Because if I was just somebody who hated white people, why do I talk about Justin Fields the way I do? The only reason I'm not even throwing Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones in this is because I'm starting to think people really think I'm hating on Justin Fields. No, I want you to see how I feel the same way about Justin Fields as I do about Zach Wilson and about Daniel Jones. Respectfully. Not good enough. Simple as that. And when Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones is in year 6. None of these dudes can you say have made any type of significant improvements to still be starters in the NFL. Now, 2 of them aren't starters anymore. I think Daniel Jones is probably in his last year as a starter. And that's not me hating. That's me saying, turn on the tape and it will tell you exactly what I'm telling you. These are quarterbacks who just aren't good enough for whatever reason. And my biggest thing when it comes to all 3 of them is family. CJ Stroud is already better than all 3 of them. CJ Stroud was a fucking rookie last year. This is exactly what I'm saying when I said, and I kept saying this. It usually only take you a year or 2 to figure out how good a quarterback is going to be. Why am I saying that? Because Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud. It ain't taking them more than 1 or 2 years to show you, yeah, I'm a franchise quarterback. It's taken Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, 4, 5, 6 years? And we still can't figure out if they franchise quarterbacks yet? They're not. At some point in time, you're going to have to believe what your eyes are seeing and stop trying to make all these excuses. Oh, they should have put all these weapons around Justin Fields like they put around Caleb Williams. Listen, you were going to have an excuse either way. At some point in time, you have to take your emotions and your feelings and what you wanted a player to be out of it and just accept them for what they are and what film they put on the field. That's my problem with people. A lot of people are Justin Fields apologists. So they are talking about what they want to see, what they hope to see, what they hope he can be. And instead of talking about what he has been, what he has put on the field. I ain't hating. I'm just telling you what I done seen. What he has put on the field. Just like Zach Wilson. Just like Daniel Jones. I told you at the end of the playoffs 2 years ago after the Giants got knocked out. Out of every team that made the playoffs this year, the one team that will more than likely be ass next year and not be back is the Giants. And they did exactly. They made me look real smart. But I'm here to tell you, listen. It wasn't a tough bet. It wasn't a tough prediction. It was very clear that the NFC was rocky that year. And they somehow benefited. All the things that could swing in their way swung in their way. But like I say a lot, when people have these crazy shooting nights in the playoffs or have a crazy shooting night in the playoffs in the NBA, the law of averages always average out, especially when talent is involved. And whether you like it or not, there is levels to talent. It's as simple as that. And as long as there is levels to talent, the law of averages will always average out. That's when you know somebody, we ain't even going to get into that conversation. That's a conversation for a whole nother day. We talking about football, not basketball. I was finna get into a basketball conversation, but I stopped myself. You're welcome. We're here to talk about football. Now, I like where, hopping back to that top 100 players ranking. I just thought about the player that I would put over another player. Max Crosby would actually be number 7 for me behind Myles Garrett. And Lord knows it's taking everything in my soul not to put Max Crosby even higher, because I think Max Crosby is my favorite. Is he? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Max Crosby right now is my favorite. I'm going to say one of my favorite defensive linemen in the league. Dude just has a crazy motor. Just an unbelievable motor, man. He reminds me of Michael Bennett, who used to play for the Seattle Seahawks on the defensive line. I remember the Super Bowl, and I always bring this up. But that Super Bowl that they lost against the Patriots, man, go look at Michael Bennett play. Just highlight all his plays. The motor that he had on him that night, he wanted to win that fucking Super Bowl. And to me, Max Crosby played with that type of urgency every single game. And the only reason that he ain't putting up these world-bending numbers, even though he still put up great numbers, I truly believe if you put Max Crosby with some of the players that Myles Garrett done had the luxury of having line up opposite of him, with some of the players that TJ Watt done had the luxury of lining up next to him. I mean, even now he got Smith lined up across from him. To me, man, Max Crosby will be putting up unreal numbers, because the problem with the Raiders is the same problem I've been telling you for about 2 years. They don't have anybody else on that defensive line that draws coverage away from Max Crosby. Nobody even close to the player that Max. No, it's nobody on the defense of the Raiders that can wreck a game the way Max Crosby can wreck a game. And the problem with having one game wrecker is because a team can plan for one game wrecker, especially when that game wrecker is playing the position that Max Crosby play. Now, obviously, Max Crosby will have his moments. And the beauty in Max Crosby is it just does not stop at a sack. Go look at his effort on plays. Even if he don't get the sack, he finds ways to disrupt plays. And that's one of the things that I think makes Max Crosby so special. And I also think that's some of the shit that people don't really think about. That's why I like that he was rated so high on the top 100 players list, because that's telling me players see what Max Crosby does and like, yeah, that motherfucker a dog. He might not be walking away with 20, 24 sacks plus a season, but he could if he had another dog on that line with him. If you put another dog on that line, Max Crosby would touch 30. I'm telling you right now. If you put another great defensive lineman or just a defensive a linebacker on a great pass rushing linebacker, Max Crosby. That's why I don't understand why the Raiders didn't go trade for Hassan Reddick and put him opposite Max Crosby. Now, I know they both play different positions, but we probably like a year or two away from the Raiders taking Max Crosby off of the line and putting him, standing him up, which I just don't agree with doing shit like that. As long as Max Crosby feel like he can be the impact player that he is on the defensive line, let him keep putting his hand in the dirt. I hate it when defensive coordinators move guys off of the line if they don't want to be moved off of the line. To me, moving Jadeveon Clowney off of the line made absolutely no sense. Jadeveon Clowney is best when he put his hand in the dirt. That is when he caused the most havoc, not when he is standing up straight or crunched over about to try. No, I want that motherfucker with his hand in the dirt. And shout out to Jadeveon Clowney. I hope you have a great season over there in Carolina this year. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. We got a good video. We got a good show coming up for you when it come out. I'm not quite sure when it comes out because we already done started planning the video and all that, but you know, still got to actually record the show. So, but the next video is 100% going to be the prediction video for all of the teams in the NFL. So if you are somebody who wanted me to cover the preseason, stop it. Get a hold of yourself. Saint don't cover preseason games. Saint does not give a flying fuck about the preseason. So with that being said, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Listen. The most important thing I say throughout the entire show. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You can be anything in this world. So please choose to be kind to somebody today. You don't know what anybody is going through. You don't know how close people are to that ledge. All right. A few words of kindness, a few thank yous can pull people back. So make sure you're kind to somebody today. I fuck with you. I love you. Like, subscribe, share. Saint out.
I have fought the good fight, and I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Well, I fought a good fight. I have finished my football race. And after 18 years, it's time. God bless all of you, and God bless football.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking or something. You would think shawty ran track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.